Every one of my records means something. The label, the producer, the year it was made.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Bad luck streak and dance in school, down on my knees in pain. Bad luck streak and dance in school.
Okay, so this is the Record Night Podcast. I'm Colin. I'm joined by Jake and Joe, as always, but we've got our most frequent guest in the history of the podcast with us, Pat St. John.
Okay.
Welcome back, Pat.
How's it going?
And you might be wondering, Colin, why do you have this awesome plastic championship belt with you? Well, the record that Pat brought tonight is perfect, and this is no bullshit. This might be the most excited I've ever been about an episode of the Record Night Podcast.
Wow.
I'm very excited to listen to this record. So let me just get right to it as far as what that. And then I'll let you talk about this band a little bit. It's the Mountain Goats, and the album is Beat the Champ, and so. Tell us about the Mountain Goats and this album, Pat.
Yeah, so I actually just started listening to Mountain Goats a couple weeks ago. So I know. Originally it was just one guy was the Mountain Goats. So it was
So the Mountain Goat.
yeah, but then I think he has like a band that plays with them now. But they're a indie folk rock band, and so I've been listening to them for a couple weeks, and like I've always like known about them, but I'm like, oh, people always suggested me, I might as well listen to them. And then I was looking, I'm like, oh, there's this album about pro wrestling. And I'm like, this is the perfect album for the Record Night Podcast because like I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and so is Colin, and so is Joe. So it's like it's absolutely perfect because it's our two probably my favorite things, which is pro wrestling and music. So
Now let me interject. Jake is the one among us who's not really a big pro wrestling fan. Now hold on. So Jake has been exposed to it heavily just through being associated with us. A lot of times our conversations go long into pro wrestling. But although Jake may have not been as big a pro wrestling fan like growing up or whatever, I don't think it's a stretch to say that you're a huge fan of the movie Nacho Libre. Am I wrong?
Now you're speaking my language.
There you go.
yeah,
No, definitely the luchadors are my favorite kind of wrestlers.
yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I
The
think-
old mascara.
But
I think Nacho Libre might be the most. Since we've been in grade school or whenever it came out, like the most quoted movie.
Yeah, that Napoleon Dynamite, Mrs. Doubtfire, those are probably like the top three like most, and SpongeBob, a lot of SpongeBob quotes.
Well, I had never seen Nacho Libre, so I just knew it from you guys. Like, get that going out of my face. Like, I didn't even know what the fuck you guys were talking about. What are you guys talking about?
Yes.
It's a great movie.
But yeah, so I've always wanted to bring a wrestling album on the podcast. I could never find the Pile Driver, which is the 1987 wrestling album, which is on vinyl somewhere. I want to find it. It's all like the WWF theme song from the 80s. I wanted to find that.
So who released it? Like WWF?
Yeah, it was WWF released it. It was like Hulk Hogan and like Big Boss Man and Junkyard Dog, like all their theme songs. And then there's also they never had Macho Man Randy Savage's rap album on because that would also be a great one. So this is a good replacement for those. But yeah, so like this is like I think the story of this album is that it's like this folk rock album about stories from pro wrestling and the guy who writes the songs for Mountain Goats. It's kind of like a love letter to pro wrestling and like how he grew up with pro wrestling and how it's impacted his life as when he was a child, and that's a lot of people, because they're kind of, pro wrestling is just, it's real life superheroes almost as a kid,
Yeah. So, as far as like my history with wrestling, I'm very textbook as far as like I was really little, but I watched it with my dad. That's a lot of people's story, and like we watched it in the late '90s, and so we pretty much just followed like the Monday Night Wars. If you're familiar, there used to be WCW, Monday Nitro, WWF at the time, Monday Night Raw would compete, head to head for ratings. And so we used to watch Nitro, and then pretty much whenever WWF started to win the ratings war, we made the switch over and started watching WWF. So pretty straightforward. But Joe, what's your earliest recollections with wrestling?
So I missed the whole Attitude Era. Like we weren't watching wrestling then. So I was what's the next era after? It's
Ruthless Aggression.
The Ruthless
That's what I
Aggression
started
era.
watching, too.
Yes, the SmackDown 7. So yeah, a lot of SmackDown. I remember like the first match I remember like watching was the Dudley Boys tables match, against maybe I think it was the Hardys. Yeah, it opened the show. Some special SmackDown show. It was named I can't remember, a SmackDown Extreme or something. It was called.
Okay, yeah.
And that was the opening match, and Bubba Dudley power bombed Jeff Hardy off the stage into a table, and then that just got me hooked.
Yeah.
And I remember just even though like sometimes we didn't have like TV, so like my grandpa would on VHS would record and then bring it over in the morning. My brother and I would pop it in the VCR and then watch. He had his favorite guys, I had my favorite guys, and I think the best part about wrestling for me growing up was Evolution. Was Triple H,
Great
Batista, because my brother's favorite wrestler was Ric Flair, which is the shirt I'm wearing, and my favorite wrestler at the time was Triple H. So when they joined together, it kind of made my brother and I closer as brothers too, because they were both wrestling together. So we were rooting for the same. Because I would just whoever he liked, I liked the opposite. I liked the heel, just to be a heel.
Yeah.
So and then I started turning from wrestling once they started having all those drafts and stuff. Right around the time ECW came in. That's when that
was 2006 or so.
That's when I stopped, and then I picked it back up a little bit when Bray Wyatt and who's the other right around that time when Bray came into the fold. And now I don't really watch it too much, but I watch the highlights and stuff. I haven't watched a full episode in a long time.
Yeah. I started watching around the same era. So I missed the whole Attitude Era. I was a bit young when the Attitude Era was going on. I was, and so I started watching the 2003, 2004 SmackDown. So we couldn't watch Raw because it was on Monday night on cable, and we didn't have cable in our rooms, and our bedtime was, before Raw went on. So we'd always watch SmackDown because we had little black and white TVs in our room. I sound like an old person, but this is the 2000s. We had my parents had picked up black and white TVs from us, Goodwill or something, and we only got basic, the basic channels. So, but SmackDown was on channel 19 or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So we'd watch SmackDown in our rooms, and when SmackDown moved to Friday in 2004 or whatever, it was perfect because we could so we were big SmackDown fans. I remember when they SmackDown and Raw would compete. We were always Team SmackDown because that's the only show we were able to watch.
Yeah.
And I remember the first pay-per-view I ever watched was Bad Blood 2004. It was Shawn Michaels and Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match.
Here,
watched it at my uncle's
let's
house.
Pause real quick.
Yeah, we're having technical issues.
Yeah.
And this is perfect because I want to grab a beer.
Yeah. We'll be right back after these commercials.
A quick note on the High Life again, even though they're not a sponsor. The last time I purchased this beer, personally, the cashier rang it up or whatever, and she goes, "Man, that is some cheap beer."
I'll be back in the high life again. All the eyes that watched me once will smile and take me in.
Okay, so we're back. We had a little bit of an issue with the microphone, as we often do on the podcast. It's like I told Austin last week. I'm like, this is more record night than it is podcast. You know what I mean?
Record night comes first.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, even Bo was saying he forgot the microphones were even there.
Yeah.
Which
is cool. That's I told him that's where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be able to relax. Okay, but yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess just as far as you were talking about pro wrestling, how you got into it, and all that sort of stuff. Who favorite wrestler of all time?
Probably growing up, it was definitely the Undertaker. I love the Undertaker.
Okay. Solid pick.
His recent endeavors in the pro wrestling have kind of ruined that a bit for me because now he's old and can't move anymore, and it's just sad. And I'm like, man, this sucks.
Well, I mean, he's done officially at this point, right?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah.
But CM Punk was probably my favorite when I got back into wrestling in the early 2010s when I got back into wrestling because I stopped watching around the same time you said you stopped watching.
ECW, yeah.
Yeah, and so I started watching it probably 2012, and CM Punk was my favorite until he quit.
Joe.
Growing up, my favorite was Triple H. And then when I got back into it, it was Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. Jake, who's your favorite pro wrestler of all time?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
There you go.
I thought you were gonna say Jack Black.
That's a much better choice.
And
Guess what?
Skeletor.
You can be as cold as you want. You can't stop the. And it come to squeeze. If only he was in pro wrestling, he'd be amazing. He would be.
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin's mine for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was a legit. Like, he was my hero. Like back when I was a kid and wrestling was real. You know, and like, he was.
That's what like the
absolute
Undertaker
best.
was with
Yeah.
me. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Is there anything else we should talk about? Well, let me just touch on real quick. The reason this is perfect is I reached out to Pat just like a few days ago, you know, and said, "Do you want to do the podcast?" And so I didn't know what record he was going to bring, but it's perfect because at the time we're recording this anyway, AEW Dynamite is tonight. They got pushed off of Wednesday to Friday
Because the NBA playoffs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I already kind of had it planned that like after we do the podcast, we'll pull up AEW Dynamite. You know, it's and this weekend is Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Their biggest pay per view. So this is the go home show as they call it, and so it just ends up perfect that you brought an album all about pro wrestling.
Yeah. I think you guys are gonna like it. I again, like I'm excited for you guys to hear this because like the first time I listened to this album, like again a couple weeks ago, it was like I had like a huge smile on my face. I'm like, oh my god, this is so awesome, you know?
Yeah, like I told you, I started to listen to it a little bit yesterday, and then I said no. I just turned it off, and I'm like, I'm gonna save it, you know, for listening to it. And Joe, you at least looked at it a little bit.
Yeah, I looked at the track listing, and because I'm like, I'm the Mountain Goats. Like I know who these guys are.
That's why I always was. I'm like, I know who the Mountain Goats are, but I never listened to them.
Right.
And then once I dug deep into their discography, I'm like, wow, like they're pretty good. Like they got a lot of good stuff.
And they've been around since like the 90s or something.
Yeah,
like
I didn't realize he's been around for so long.
95.
This is like their 16th album.
Yeah.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, the artwork is really. I'm a huge fan of the artwork.
Yeah.
There's a glare because of the computer screen, but and then like the titles for the back, there's a picture like for every one of the track titles.
That's cool.
And then there's kind of like yeah, this is really clean. I'm just a fan of the way they did.
Oh,
that.
that's super cool.
There's a nice,
There's a nice newsprint vibe going to it.
Well, the insert in there's a big thing he wrote up about like how he became a fan of pro wrestling, and you know.
Yes, here. So pass it around. Check this out.
People listening at home need to look up the artwork for it because it's very detailed and there's a lot going on. The back of it's great, you know.
Moves is that a front drop kick? What he's doing?
That's what it looks like, yeah. Maybe a missile drop kick off the top rope or something.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he kind of looks like he is coming from the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll pass this around. We'll take a look at it, and then we'll get it up on the turntable, and we'll get into this record. So we're gonna take nothing. Just this is a normal commercial break. No technical difficulties or anything.
Yeah.
We'll be right back on the Record Night podcast.
I'm glad you get to experience this record from start to finish because, like you said, it was on your playlist, and some songs come up here and there, and I feel like this is just one of those pieces of art that needs to be listened to like a story from start to finish. So I'm glad we get to experience this. This is awesome.
That's what Record Night's all about.
Hello, I'm Colin from the Record Night podcast. Do you have a record on your shelf that means the world to you? Maybe it helped you through a tough time, or takes you back to your childhood, or maybe it's just a badass record that you'd like to share with us and the world. Well, if that's the case, we'd love to hear that record, and we would love to hear from you. So if you're interested in being a part of the Record Night podcast and you're in the greater Cleveland area, then please feel free to reach out to us. You can do that a couple of different ways. You can send us an email, recordnightpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a direct message on Instagram at Record Night Podcast. We hope to hear from you soon.
This is a blast.
Yeah.
This is a blast.
This is how it is. Every weekend.
Okay, and you know let's give a huge shout out to me right now because I remembered you said this is 45 RPM. It's a double LP, so I thought I was gonna forget, but I did not forget, and so I'm gonna push the button right now.
We'll see.
So
Also,
people who have record players will know there's two speeds. There's 33 revolutions per minute versus 45, and this is 45. So I don't know what the hell the difference is. Although that the double LP I got, I picked up the band, their music from Big Pink. Picked up a remastered copy. Originally when that album came out, it was a single LP, but they remastered it as a double and made it 45. So I think it has something to do with quality. I mean, like
it has to do with the dynamic range. The more dynamic range you have on the record, the less like physical space you have to to put on the record. So like shorter double LPs, like if this had less dynamic range, you could probably put it as a single LP. But it's because they want to keep that dynamic range. It's a double LP. That's really what it has to do with. Because like there was whole comedy records back in like when they were making, back in like the 70s and 80s, and they could fit an hour 20 minutes of material on one LP because the dynamic range was so low.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That makes sense. Okay, well, let's get started. I've put it on 45, so if everything goes according to plan, this is gonna sound fine and not like chipmunks or what's a slowed down? What is the chipmunks?
A giant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
here we go.
Southwestern Territory is track 1 here.
Kind of Randy Newman a little bit.
Yeah.
Work like a dog all day. Born to chase cars away. Nearly drive Danny's nose back into his brain. All the cheap seats go insane.
This seems to me like this is obviously a concept record. This seems like a perfect begin. I love this as an opening track. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not giving too much away.
Yeah, it's kind of
very vague.
It's kind of like an old downtrodden like wrestler,
Okay, the Legend of Chavo Guerrero. This is Chavo Guerrero
Senior. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, man, I love it.
All soaked in blood, like a newborn babe, sharp thing hidden in my hand, shaped like an asshole away. Little sticky Leon, a foreign object. Unpoke you in the eye, with a foreign object.
Okay, so I think that's it for side 1 of this double LP. We'll just get to side 2 here. I want to quickly zero in on Jake.
I'm enjoying myself.
Your impression of the
I'm
first
enjoying
3
myself.
songs.
It's funny. It's like Weird Alish.
Yeah, sure. Especially in that last song, the line, I will personally stab you in the eye. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, so far so good. I feel like we're just starting to get into it.
Yeah.
Now, trying to, I like the Legend of Chavo. At first, I thought it was going to be Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Okay,
Not,
sure.
I totally forgot about Senior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy's definitely an older wrestling fan.
Yeah, and this is a cool one because this is about him watching wrestling as a kid, and like Chavo's his hero. He talks about how he prays nightly for his enemy's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need some justice in my life. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Chavo Guerrero. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. That's one of the. I think it was when this song. I don't know if it was this song, or maybe even the first one. Let's just start with the first one. Southwest Territory. So now obviously wrestling is nationwide with WWE and AEW and all the other, but it used to be territorial. So there was like the Southwest Territory, and then WWE was like New York and many others. But so, what I was thinking during this first song was like I like pro wrestling, but it is bizarre.
Yeah.
It is a bizarre thing. Like they were able to fill arena, for this, show. I mean, it's weird now because like we all know it's a work and everything, but like at the time, like people not knowing and stuff, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and like this song is just like from the perspective of like it's some downtrodden old wrestler talking, thinking about the, the old days of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about dying on the road someday and.
Yeah, it was the line, nearly drive Danny's nose back into his brain, all the cheap seats go insane. Like, it's just a weird thing. Like, all these people are like, yeah, kill him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's kind of like a somber beginning almost to the album.
Yeah, but he gets to the struggle of a pro wrestler. This guy's on the road all the time. I try to remember to write in the diary that my son gave me. Like, he probably never sees his kid. He's always on the road.
Sorry, no one drives on the 60 this late.
Yeah.
And...
Okay, and then then we had the song about Chavo Guerrero, and then Foreign Object. So yeah,
I like the Legend of Chavo Guerrero a lot.
Well,
It's like a fun song. And that chorus is just so catchy.
Lots of insider stuff here. When you look through
yeah.
even stuff that I'm missing, like as far as like references to old wrestlers and stuff like that. But yeah, like he raised his boys in the way that trade Hector, Mondo, and young Eddie Guerrero, who we all remember.
Legendary pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at the end where he talks about, where he talks about his, we talk about getting out of wrestling, where he talks about he traveled the world with his son, but even then I don't know. It's like there's like a line about that where it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Nice.
Slide guitar.
I love the slide
Or
guitar.
steel, something like that.
18 steel cage free for all. Through the noise I hear you call for help. You can't protect yourself. Frog mask and yellow cape. So desperate to escape I can't.
I love the bass tone in this.
Yeah, the bass is really good in this song.
Hands wrapped in a piece of tape. That was when we were young and green.
I love that. The slide guitar is so awesome.
In the dawning hours of our teen.
That one's a little bit of a mystery to me.
Yeah, that's an interesting song. How it ends with the chorus.
Yeah.
The chorus isn't very long. It's just two
I feel
lines.
I feel like I want to hear the chorus again. After you repeat. Just repeat the same lines twice.
Yeah. Maybe it's setting up for like this next song.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like kind of like an interlude to Choke Out or Choked Out.
Choked out.
Like animal gimmick popped real nice.
Yeah.
Like,
I love the instrumental in that.
Jurassic Express.
yeah, that was Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey, it's true.
Actually, it's kind of a reference to later in the album too.
Choked out, choked out, choked out.
Yeah.
I stretch and strain with all my might. And fall into the velvety arms of the night. Kick and claw and scratch and bite. Fire up the grill, everybody eats tonight. Choked out.
It's great.
Nobody's found mine.
He's got to do the job to get paid, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Colors of the rainbow flood my face. I lift right off into space. I can see the future, it's a real dark place. Choked out. Choked out. Choked out.
Yep.
He got choked down. That's so funny.
heel turn 2.
I'm not sure if there's a heel turn 1.
I like stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. Like the whole Star Wars thing. How like the first Star Wars is like Star Wars Episode 4, like that.
Yeah.
And then they like come back around.
yeah.
Like, I don't like that, but
Drift down into the new dark light. Without any reservations. You found my
I like this.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
nice.
I really enjoyed these last 2 songs musically. Like, I've been so
Yeah.
into the story, and I still am, obviously, but like,
The instrumentals are really good.
wow.
It was really good.
I love the seriousness that this ending is putting on this song. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's obviously like, it's wrestling, it's a heel turn, but there's a real serious moral
Yeah.
quandary in the, like
Like this is
trying to play by the rules and coming up short and deciding.
And
Fuck
they
this,
even
man.
talk
Right.
about in the beginning of the song about how he's like the good guy around town and all this stuff, and then it's like so tragic when he's a bad guy,
Yeah.
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 President of the fan club.
Yep.
choking on his tears.
Okay, Jake doesn't seem to be making a move. I thought this was the point in the podcast where I would ask Jake, do you want to pee or should I pee?
You can pee because if you're asking me that, it means you really got to pee.
That's right.
And I can hold it for another couple minutes. So
okay.
Why don't you pee and then I'll pee after you.
And then we'll talk about this side of the
Of course.
All right.
Okay, so let me switch. We're at the end of one record of the double LP, so I'm going to switch records. And pull your mic back in, Jake, because once again I want to just because we're all big pro wrestling fans. I just want to start with you. What do you think so far?
I don't know. I really liked it. It really, I feel like it really captures, especially for someone who's younger. I feel like it really captures like the seriousness with which you, like if you were a young fan of wrestling, like how you would have taken this, like even a lot of the lyrics. Like I know these were on like the first side before we flipped to B, but like this is the only justice I get. Like this is what I look forward to at the end of the week, and like
that's how it was.
Just the and the kind of the seriousness with which the fans like take everything. Like this last song about like how he's in tears, the fan club manager's like in tears.
Well, like people who on the podcast who don't know anything about pro wrestling. Heel turn is when a good guy becomes a bad guy, and that's the whole thing is that he's not winning as a good guy, so he's got to turn heel. And this is real stuff that happened. Like people would throw trash at them. It doesn't happen anymore. These are different times.
Trash rains down.
Well, no, they would there was wrestlers who turned heel and they almost got killed by fans, and they would throw trash at them and stuff. And
wrestlers have been shot at.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some crazy stories. That bit about the trash raining down reminded me of one of the most legendary heel children of all time, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And there's trash raining into the ring. People are like, Hulk Hogan, it was like the biggest wrestler. He's one of those guys you thought never will they turn him heel, and they did.
Yeah.
And it was one of the biggest money making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it needed to be done.
Yeah.
Because a good guy grows stale. You know what I mean? Like for real. So
yeah, and like this is like a different. Like I like the story they're telling about how he always comes up short. As a good guy, so he's got to be bad.
Which again, that's a very real.
Yeah.
You can bring up real life situations where people decide to, I'm done playing by the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this song is so the piano outro in this song, again, like it shows the like we talked about, when it was playing, like how the seriousness of this story. And it's just such a, it's so great.
Choked Out was such a great song.
Yeah.
I fucking love Choked Out.
Short too. I think it's less than 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
I see the future. It's real dark.
Well,
Choked Out.
Yeah.
Yep.
When he says $200 take all purse, like the whole deal is like he's gonna do this. Not many guys are willing to actually
get choked out.
Right.
Yeah, for real. But scroll down a little bit. There's a great line. Where it's like most of the boys would never cross this line.
Right.
If they want to die dead broke, that's fine.
Yeah. Everybody's got their
he's
limits.
like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die rich. It's fucking great. That's pro wrestling. That is like the quintessential like pro wrestling like attitude. It's like it's so great. Like it represents pro wrestling so well. Like this song in particular.
And this is it's really well written too. He
said,
I stretch and strain with all my might, drift off into the velvety arms of the night.
It's like
is that the ropes? No,
the velvety arms. He's like passing out. Like he's
I just kind of picture like the soft kind of like fade.
And even the next time, the kick and claw and scratch on bite fire of the girl everybody eats tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, it really captures.
Everybody's got their limits, but nobody's found mine.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it really captures like the kind of the crazy essence of the kind of person who wants to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah,
especially because again, a lot of this I feel like is old wrestling.
Yeah,
where there wasn't as much money in it. I mean, it's $200 per. That's not that much.
Right. It's kind of like Nacho Libre where he goes, I'm sick of getting paid to lose.
Yeah.
I want to win. Like the guy comes in and they don't understand like why the man's walked in and paid them, and it's like, but we lost. He's like, the people, they like you. You come back, I get another match for you, and like they keep getting paid, but they keep losing.
And that was that song. The guy did the job. He made it. He really got choked out. He made it convincing. The crowd's like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Like you got to really sell it.
There's Animal Mask.
So Animal Mask was the first song on the side, and this is the one that like kind of confused me. I mean, it's obviously like a steel cage battle royal, right? He says like
Yeah.
18 men, like that's a lot of guys in one match.
I think it's like him, like he is like a. I don't know. Like I feel like he's definitely like in battle royals where they form teams. Like this is it where they're calling out for help and he goes and he starts punching the guy.
Yeah. So the line I liked in the song is he says animal gimmick pops real nice. So pop is the crowd cheers.
So you'll see this. That's also a reference to another song later in the album. You'll hear.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then like and then the core. It's funny because there's this whole fight. This 18-man steel cage battle royal, and then like the chorus is still kind of like it's very like sentimental, and it's like
yeah.
Again, it's kind of like an old pro wrestler talking about some things you'll remember and some things,
Yeah. Well, and then like the animal gimmick, what Joe brought up is relevant. Like currently in AEW, Lucha.
The Luchasaurus. He's
a
Luchasaurus. He's a wrestling dinosaur.
What's their Jurassic Express?
Yeah, like again, people who don't watch pro wrestling who are listening to this podcast, like he's his character. He is a dinosaur that wrestles,
and it's a hilarious gimmick. Like
yeah,
he's like he claims to be. He wears a mask, but he says he's a dinosaur, and like he's like
65 billion years old.
Yeah, right. He goes all the way with it. Like it's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should keep it going. Well,
yeah.
I've put the second record up. We're ready to rock and roll. Everybody's peed. We're all emptied.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you've I feel like there was one other so just real quick before we keep going. What's your perspective of this as far as like how they just with your perspective, Pat, as far as like recording and stuff like how they produce this record and everything?
I love it because it's very natural. There's not a lot of There's not a lot of like overproduction. Everything is very natural. Like we were talking about when the piano was recorded. Like it feels like they didn't do anything to the piano. Like no, like it was just like that's how the piano sounded in that room. At the end of Heel Turn 2, just that awesome piano part at the end, and I just love how it's mixed and recorded because everything just sounds very natural. And I think it fits like these style of songs well. And like even then you can hear like not everything is like recorded perfectly, and I think that's kind of like a nice. I think it's very nice.
Yeah, we've talked a bit about that a lot. I feel like that's got to take discipline as a producer.
Yeah,
it's got to be tempting to. You're a producer. You want to
make everything perfect. You want to make everything perfect, but like some things are better left like imperfect. Because I feel like it fits the emotion of these songs better.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about music, and like that's why I like a production that's very, it's more of an emotional aspect to leave something imperfect and everything just to be completely perfect, completely on time, and
Well, and kind of like, I don't know what was going on. I think maybe I was going to the bathroom. You were talking about like that last song, like the notes were like it kept like it was unresolved. Every note, every ended note was like not a resolving note. I mean,
the way it was written, yeah.
And so that's like purposeful, obviously, right? Like for the nature of that tune. So, okay, let's keep it going. Fire Editorial.
It's about another pro wrestler, the Sheik.
Nice.
Ooh,
that's what this is about. The original Sheik.
The original Sheik. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The original Sheik was crazy too.
Yeah. The Iron Sheik is crazy.
Crazier.
But,
yes.
Yeah, crazier, but the original Sheik is plenty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Jazzy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was like the Sheik, the original Sheik was like the first big heel. Like huge, like everyone hated.
He kind of started the whole foreign heel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he was in the Detroit territory.
Yep.
That was his thing. Was the fight? He'd throw fireballs at people.
Was it like a gimmick, like something that would flash or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dude would react on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I love that piano part and during.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found that one with Animal Mask. As far as like.
Yeah.
I didn't totally get it. Ooh.
But he doesn't really ever mention anything about the Sheik. I mean, Detroit.
Yeah, it's like about like if you
a
read
heel
like
in Detroit,
if you read like he did an interview where he talked. Like, he said in an interview, that's what the song was like. He wrote the song about the Sheik.
Okay. Oh, this is about
Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, stabbed to death outside San Juan.
True story.
Yeah.
Bruiser Brody was great too. Like everyone loves Bruiser Brody.
The winter's wet. The summer's hot. Take a night to Puerto Rico. Why not?
It's kind of spooky.
Mm-hmm. Sounds kind of like ambulance sirens.
Yeah.
At the end.
Interesting. Okay. Werewolf gimmicks like this.
Sail past all the grasping hands, floodlights wide and hot. Bring my vision into focus. Find out what I've got. Some sniveling local baby face with an angle he can't tell. Full werewolf off the buckle, like an angel straight from hell. Nameless bodies in unremembered rooms, run howling through the carnage when the wolf booms.
Really good imagery.
Yeah.
Half the city sound asleep and safe inside their beds.
I don't know what his point was there, but it kind of made me think of like a heel that's over.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
like a well. My whole thought of that song, it's a promo. Like the whole song is he's cutting a promo. he talks about killing his opponents and stuff.
Yeah.
This is about another wrestler, Luna Vachon, who was a wrestler a women's wrestler in like the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Stay on my feet somehow and ride and ride and ride and ride.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds really good, yeah.
Like the little background there. Right.
Yeah.
End of side 3.
Yeah, that last song was really good.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That was okay. Well, we got to keep it going. Wow, there's some of these have got to be quick because you've still got a lot of songs left on the last side.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you think? That side, there's definitely a lot I appreciate, but it lost me a little bit. Like
Really?
it was a lot more vague, a lot of stories that maybe I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, vague's a good word. Like, I was expecting this album just to be full of wrestling, terms and names and stuff.
And it has been to a large
it
degree.
has. The first side was, but like these last couple, like they don't really give you too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll say like in the little the credits of the song, oh, this song's about Bruiser Brody, and this song's about Luna. What was her last name?
Luna Vachon.
Luna Vachon, but it doesn't really.
Yeah.
Really say anything about
like Luna kind of does if you like when you get into the lyrics of it because like it's named Luna after her, but it's about because she died young, like a lot of wrestlers die young, and that's what a lot of this is about.
Burnout.
This is how they live their life so fast and they die young.
Yeah,
right. And that's that's why this song is kind of like it's named after her, and it's more of like a this is about like how wrestlers live their lives and they die so young.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting from the Burn Hard. Mm-hmm.
Where at the end it's like Burn Hard, Ray John, all gone. Where it's just like that's their life,
Yeah.
But also from like again like the songs on this side were very like all kind of weird,
somber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Different. tempo changes.
This is kind of like Luna's a very somber. Like that's a very somber song, and
so to start the side, it was Fire Editorial, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is about the Sheik, so not the Iron Sheik, which is where my mind went.
Yeah, the original
Sheik,
who preceded them by, they were, I think they were contemporaries at one point, but the original Sheik did precede them.
Okay,
did precede the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
And like, they talk about some of his gimmicks with the fireball. That was the Sheik. That was the Sheik singer. Was his fireball. He was one of the first. He's like, you talk about like the foreign heel, which in wrestling they have people from other countries and they're heel because they're from other countries.
Sure.
He was like the first he was like the first like foreign heel in wrestling, and that's what all this is about. It's always he talks about the hidden pocket knife because like they like that was like he's just again these are more like I'm not sure I don't know too much about the original Sheik. I haven't watched a lot of his matches, so I'm sure these are something he's probably done in his matches. I know the fireball thing. I know again, but But again, more stuff just about like pro wrestling in general, where it's talk about all the best bleed and
Proud Boys, look out.
Yeah.
I think this predates the white supremacist. I think this predates the white supremacist group. And then even the end of the song is kind of somber, where talk about who will mop up all the blood and save this town, save everything not.
Is it about like he did something bad and he basically started a riot in Detroit? Yeah. Because it talks about how like guns are come out and you can smell the sulfur in the air.
Mm-hmm. Well, because that was the thing that happened.
We talked about, Joe. You were saying that guys have been shot at. I mean, that shit was real to people.
He was such a big heel. Like people would, if he won, people would riot.
Yeah.
And
he just beat.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Save this town, save everything not nailed down.
A fan cut Jake the Snake Roberts with a box cutter.
Yeah.
Just cut him. Because it was like a grandmother and the grandkids were like, you can't, Jake the Snake is so bad, Grandma, you can't beat Jake the Snake or whatever, and she went to the arena with a box cutter and fucking cut him because she didn't want to look weak.
This was like in the 70s when the original Sheik was like at his peak, and so that's why like people would just riot if the babyface lost, people would just fucking riot.
Well, okay, so the next song was stabbed to death outside San Juan. Now tell me about this because you guys knew the story. You knew you knew it was about Bruiser Brody and what's going on here?
Bruiser Brody, who was this great wrestler, he was big. He was really big in Japan. I think he was American, but like he wrestled in like he was this huge. He was like this huge dude, and he was a really good wrestler, and he was a big heel in Japan. And there's different like versions of the story. Nobody really knows exactly what happened because like it was only. Nobody saw it happen.
Well, and before we get to that, I mean, this was the song where he's just talking, literally talking to open the song. It was very interesting. Yeah, and the whole side was, but anyway.
Continue. Yeah, and there was after a match in Puerto Rico, one of the other wrestlers. It may have been it was one of the other wrestlers. They were in the showers and he stabbed them to death. And like some people think it was a money issue. Some people think it was because he beat him up too much in the ring. There's I was reading about it before I got over here. Apparently there's one because like Bruiser Brody was really rough in the ring, so he'd actually hurt people. And like apparently the guy who killed him said I'm gonna kill that guy one day. He talked about how because he hated Bruiser Brody.
Yeah, and after he killed him, he was real open about it. Yeah, I killed him.
So after he killed him, because he went.
So hold on. Yeah. So you said already, but so Bruiser Brody is the one who got stabbed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he took this match in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And so it's this Puerto Rican guy fighting.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where he was from because like they had American wrestlers go.
Because other guys were wrestling in the territory.
Yeah.
Too, sure.
Yeah, but whoever it was, like he went back to Puerto Rico after he killed Bruiser Brody, and that was his character. He was the guy who killed Bruiser Brody.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
My god.
And everyone and like even though Bruiser Brody's a big heel, like people were fucking mad that he got stabbed.
Dead for real. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like he fucking like caused riots because he would go on the microphone and be like, "I killed Bruiser Brody." Yeah.
Oh my! You want to talk about real heat?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I feel like the end of this is like him dying, where he talks like, "I dropped from the top of my tall steel cage and dropped to the concrete floor." And even at the end, like those instruments, like the violins, kind of sound like ambulance sirens.
Oh yeah, that was a good point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is a very true story about Bruiser Brody getting stabbed. There's a good documentary about it. I think the Dark Side of the Ring did a good documentary.
I think that's what I saw. That's
yeah. He was like beloved, like he was like beloved within like wrestlers, he's like a legendary. He's like a legend.
Sure, tough guy.
He wasn't even that old either. Like, he was like in his mid-30s. That's where Mr. Brody Lee got his name from. Was Bruiser Brody.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, werewolf gimmick. I liked this one.
I liked it too.
Yeah. This is the song I have to say when I was listening to this album for the first time. Like, this is what made me really love this album. Was this song?
Yes. So Jake. So why do you like this song? Why did you like this
I just think it's a cool story. Like, if this is the way I took it anyway is like, this is an actual like play that this was his character. He's like a werewolf. I was like, dude, that's such a creative fucking, like, I could just imagine like this kind of weak guy that gets, this is what I was picturing in my head as like this weak guy that gets pushed around in all his matches, and then all of a sudden the lights go out and it's like it's an actual full moon that day.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he's like in full costume and shit. I was like, holy shit, that'd be fucking amazing.
That's like what it is. I mean, like this whole thing is just a fucking promo for his character.
I think the first line of this song kind of says it all. I was not there for rehearsal. I don't need it anymore. So he has literally has become the gimmick.
The werewolf.
He's become the gimmick. So he doesn't need to rehearse or anything. He just goes out there, does this thing, and then he goes to the next town.
When I show up just in time to pop, I don't need to be there for all the bullshit before I
show up and I kick ass and I leave.
Yep.
Where he's like nameless bodies in unremembered rooms. He doesn't know where he
he doesn't know what city he doesn't know what town he's in or whatever. He doesn't know who he's wrestling. He's just there to win and go into the next town and win again and just keep it moving.
That goes down like some sniveling local babyface with an angle he can't sell. Full off the buckle like an angel straight from hell. It's so fucking fucking good.
He's just coming out hot.
Yeah.
Well, what I said at the time was imagery. Good imagery.
Yeah.
Sail past the grasping hands. Like, everybody's like, give me 5. He's walking.
He's so focused.
He's laser focused on the ring. Like, fuck all you people.
And like along with like the drums, like those booming, like that floor tom that's just booming. This entire song is just so awesome.
Some sniveling local babyface, good guy, with an angle he can't sell.
So it's like you're like, it's like your storyline, your backstory is fucking garbage.
It sucks.
Like, I'm the werewolf.
Watch me come in.
People
come here to see me.
Yeah.
That's
See, that's what made me think.
Yeah.
Like, so obviously the way it's supposed to work is the babyface is the guy the crowd's rooting for.
Yeah.
But no, like
people come to see the fucking werewolf.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least they know that shit's all over. Like they didn't expect that the werewolf would show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool fucking...
My favorite line is, bring your heroes to the wolf's den, watch them all get crushed.
Yeah.
Again, that's such a wrestling promo, too.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I love it.
Get told to maybe dial it backstage later on.
That was cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, like, the babyface is supposed to go over, all right? Like, that's what I was saying, like, the heel. Okay, like, hey, you're not supposed to get over with the crowd. You know, the crowd starting to, like,
but he's so awesome. You know, people love him.
Which, again, there's a whole interesting conversation there as far as, like, the way wrestling has developed, where like again, like the good guy, which we talked about Hulk Hogan turning heel, the good guy got stale. Take your vitamins, all that stuff. It got old. Like people wanted like an edgier character, and so that's why heel started to become more like favorable and stuff. And even we talked about before, like Stone Cold Steve Austin was my hero, and he was kind of a heel. He was kind of a heel
like
babyface,
anti-hero.
People love to watch him show up and kick people's asses.
Yeah,
that's what the werewolf does in this song.
Yeah, really good. This is, again, we'll kind of talk about when we wrap up, but this is like you were saying before, like this is a good like introduction. Even people who don't know about wrestling, like this is a good like introduction.
Yeah,
because these are just good songs anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
the instruments are good. Like the songs themselves are pretty good.
And they're all very unique, like tempo and time signatures and stuff. Different instruments being used.
You know, when I said 12, right away I said 12, and it's because it was that jazzy one, and I was counting. Yeah. I was doing some counting.
And then Luna, which we talked about.
Yeah, which is a very somber song.
Mm-hmm.
It's good though. I like the song a lot. Again, a great piano part in it. I really love the piano on this whole record. Is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that outro earlier. Okay, so
And one thing I do want to say, the end of this song with those violins where they build up, that's a very Godspeed You Black Emperor-esque.
yes, it did remind me of that. Now I have that on my mind because you're here and we were talking about before, but yes,
because that happens in that Godspeed You Black Emperor album where like that's like that same
like,
kind of violin,
sneaky.
Yeah, it just builds.
Yep. Yeah, before you know it, it's like a kind of like intense part. You know, you weren't aware of it. Okay, so we're getting to the last side. And I have a feeling Unmasked is going to resolve Animal Mask from earlier. That's what I would expect. You kind of alluded to.
Because he does say...
Yeah. So, also, we're reading on the Genius thing. Those last 2 songs aren't on this. Those are I think they're bonus tracks.
Okay.
They might be. Who knows? Well, who knows? They might be. I mean,
that would make sense because it's a lot of songs for one side of a 45 RPM.
Again, this is the first time I've listened to this on vinyl, so it could be on there. I don't know.
Okay, let's see. But if that's the case, the fact that Unmasked, because at the time Animal Mask, I kind of commented like, I don't really know what was going on there. So so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I even said, didn't it feel like it was a kind of an interlude to? Yeah. But it wasn't an interlude to Chokeout. Chokeout was, but it was an interlude to the other side. Because even he says in the song about I forget what the actual lyric was, but like no one sees your face, but you could choose to take it off when you want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like you can't show me your face. You won't show me your face until you want to.
Yeah.
It's like the
so I think this is basically that story being told.
Okay, so we'll get to this last side. I'm gonna insert another commercial break because I do want to pee again. Jake, are you good or?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Okay. Well then we'll be right back.
No, not really. Just keep spinning vinyl, everyone. You know what I mean? I really encourage everyone to do the same thing that we do because as cool as this podcast is, get together with your buddies and spin some records, connect with your friends. There's not enough. There's enough digital in the world today. Like you should go back to basics sometimes. It makes an impact on your life. It's a great way to unwind at the end of the week. Open up a few beers, spin a vinyl. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That was a nice little commercial break right there.
Yeah, let's save our political discussions. We'll certainly get to them. But I want to have Animal Mask resolved here in Unmasked. We'll see.
This is brought to you by WD-40.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And we'll have to talk about that one. Bull Ramos. Do you know who Bull Ramos is? The Ballad of Bull Ramos.
Yeah, I've never heard of Bull Ramos.
I haven't either. I just remember that guy from NXT. Bull. Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. I'm not sure if he wrestles anymore. He was ever that good in NXT.
Yeah, I don't think he does either. He had a good gimmick though.
Yeah.
No, this might be. I think this is the last one. Closing track.
Yeah. Yeah, this song's also almost 6 minutes long.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna be. I'm excited. A hair match. That's one of the most classic wrestling angles.
Yeah. We had a mass versus mass match.
Loser has to shave their head.
Oh.
Same with the mask versus mask match from Unmasked.
They have to remove their mask.
Losers take their mask off. Yeah.
That's terrible. A luchador can't lose his mask. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It ruins him.
You are correct. Very raw feel to this as far as the production, like we said.
Yeah, you hear like his guitar, like he's like almost doesn't get the note. You know, it's like, I love it. It's so, I love when productions like that.
I feel like it's a lot like wrestling too. Like you don't get a chance to redo it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like.
Reminds me of like the WrestleMania 20 when they shave Molly Holly's hair. They hold her down.
Yeah.
Shave her head.
And shout out to Molly Holly.
Yeah, she's great.
She was good. She was good. She went through a lot of shit in that era because you were supposed to be like hot and bikini matches and stuff. But she just wanted to be like wrestle. Yeah. She was good looking.
She was underrated in that sense.
Yes. She wasn't about that,
right.
Raw and panty matches and stuff.
Right.
She wanted to actually wrestle.
She was around this era. She would be.
She would kill it in this era.
Out in the parking lot, you look up at the stars. And all the cheap cars.
I love it, dude. That's it. So there are a couple of bonus tracks. And Pat, you were saying like they're not even on.
They're not on Spotify, so I've never heard
they're
them.
Super secret bonus.
They're probably
tracks.
on the CD. I mean, the vinyl did come with a digital download, so maybe they're on the digital download. But
so the last two are Blood Capsules and Dub Capsules.
Yeah, I looked up. I think Dub Capsules is just a dub version of, like a dub remix of Blood Capsules.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, I guess let's just read. I want to start with Jake again. I mean, just
picking on me, huh?
Yeah.
No, overall, I was like, so we were kind of texting back and forth that like you were gonna bring this record, and like obviously like I'm not a huge fan of like pro wrestling. Like I'm kind of like different from the pack in that regard. Mm-hmm. Now it's kind of like I told Colin, I was like, I'm gonna bring my stankiest attitude, like joking that I'm like not gonna like it, but like I was really impressed by there was the strings and like the horns, like there was a lot of thought and effort like put into like how this was written and like composed is the word I guess the word I'll use. Like it was composed really fucking well, so that's what stuck out to me the most. And like I said again, I just I think it did a really good job of kind of capturing the kind of like grandeur and wonder of like a young person like watching this shit. Like you can almost step into their shoes. Like, wow, this is so real. Like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I can't because I remember what that's like,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was really good.
Yeah, Joe, what'd you think? I'm curious.
It was good. Like, it's supposed to be, a wrestling album, but I don't necessarily think you have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this album. Because
well, not at all.
A lot of the songs are very vague and it might go over, if you're not a wrestling fan, a lot of the terms and stuff might even go over your head.
Or it might hit you in a totally different way.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
even a song about the Chavo Guerrero song. I mean, it's about, a kid, finding like a hero in life, and just because it's a professional wrestler. I mean, all kids have heroes, no matter if it's a professional wrestler or a superhero or something. So you can relate on that level even if you don't enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Even other songs like the Ballad of Bull Ramos, which I like a lot. Like about it's his old. It's like it's any like celebrity who used to be famous but he's not anymore.
Yeah, this was
good. He's about to be on the operating table and he's like, "Are you that wrestler, the Bull Whip?"
Yeah. Well, hold on. So the side started with Unmasked.
So which is kind of the follow, which could be the follow up to Animal Mask.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Okay, go ahead. What did you think of this song?
I think the song is great. I love it. And it's interesting because it's like the whole mask versus mask thing. So loser loses their mask, but you know, when they take the wrestler's mask off, he's like relieved. That's a big part of it at the end where he feels like he's free.
Yeah, he says, "I will reveal you."
Yeah.
So presumably talking about his opponent.
Yeah.
Mask versus mask match, but
at the end, he's talking about himself.
He's looking in the mirror. I will reveal you, and that's the idea of.
Yeah, he's hiding behind the mask.
And again, literal mask or no mask. Like these wrestlers embody their character.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when they have to just be them, you know what I mean? Either when their career's over, or when they go home at night, you know, whatever. Like that's a big thing in wrestling. That was cool. I didn't expect that turn at the end. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so well thought out, and so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song's very good. Again, it's a nice follow up to a song that was on the album earlier.
Yeah.
And then it's about Ballad of Bull Ramos.
Ballad of Bull Ramos,
which is
good song. I'm gonna have to look up who this guy is.
Another somber song with the very beginning where it says "Drive a great truck when I'm old," and at the end of the song where he's talking about when he's old, his kidneys are gone and he's blind. And all he does is sit on his porch and think about the good times.
He says, "Let the good times dance across my mind." Again, well written, you know. Never die, never die.
And then again, it's the same thing where it's like, you know, there's just some people, you know, he was this old wrestler and, you know, people don't know about him more, but there are some people who still remember him, like the doctor who's operating on him, you know.
Yeah.
Remembers he's the guy with the bullwhip and, you know.
Right.
So his legend does never, you know, and that's a lot, you know, that's a lot of wrestlers too. You know?
When you can tell he's proud of it, like he answers in the real affirmative. Yes, sir, that's me. I'm him, you know?
Like he's so proud that somebody recognized him.
Yeah, right. Like,
yeah. This is like, again, like this isn't like a somber sounding song, but like the lyrics are kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of songs. This is kind of a somber album for being, you know, it's a fun album, but like, because like that is the world of pro wrestling. It's like, you know, these people live hard lives and they die young and.
Well, you said it's not real somber sounding because he's proud of his past, but it's his past.
Yeah,
it's gone. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a couple high energy, like "Choked Out" was a high energy song.
Yeah, it was diverse in that way. I feel like most of it was somber and laid back, but it definitely had its moments, you know. And then hair match. So Jake, like, you asked her at the beginning, like hair match. Yeah. So it's I don't know what the history is, but it goes back a long way.
Yeah,
it has to.
Like
it's in the same vein as the mask versus mask in Lucha Libre, where I think the hair versus hair matches started in Lucha Libre as well. So they do hair versus mask or hair versus hair. Mm-hmm. So the loser would either have to remove their mask or shave their head, you know.
But
it's a whole thing. It's disrespectful to get your head shaved.
Well, but so kind of going back to Choked Out earlier, like the guys, you really got to do the job. You really got to get choked out to sell it to the crowd. This is real. Like if the guy loses, he's got to get his head shaved, like for real. It's not fake. You know what I mean? He's really got to shave his head. So like, especially like in matches where like, you know, a lot of wrestlers had like long flowing hair and stuff. You know, like Ric Flair, amazing head of hair. Like if he had to get his head, which you know,
never.
No.
Well, they wanted to when
Jim Herd took over WCW.
Yeah, they wanted to make him Spartacus.
Yeah, they shave his hair.
And they wanted him to shave his head for Spartacus. He's like, I made a whole career.
That's why he left.
This.
That's why he left to go to WWF in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Was because of that.
But that shows the reality of it. Like, no, I'm not getting my fucking head shaved.
It's a part of my gimmick. Like, it's a part of my whole look.
Yeah.
Okay, is this match supposed to be like an unsanctioned match? Because they talk about in the first couple of lines here.
No cameras filming?
Yeah, but even before that it said something about...
Oh, we're going to bring in a folding chair?
No. Maybe it was about the cameras, hit record and stuff.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like an unsanctioned... I don't know. It just seemed
like that was the whole thing, is that like you only do the head shave for the people in the building. Because this is back in the old days before they had, you know, nationwide televised wrestling.
Yeah.
And so that's... But, you know, there's people there, you know, people that come with their cameras.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. So maybe it wasn't. I'm forgetting this is like real old wrestling, like territory wrestling.
Yeah.
So it's
you know.
You're right.
So they didn't want to show it on TV because they.
I wonder how it worked back then though, because like in the content, I don't know if it's like from a view. I don't know like how wrestling really works, because it says like, hey, if you lose, like But in my mind, I'm like, well, isn't that all probably predetermined? Like this
Yeah.
guy's gonna win or this guy's gonna lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that kind of goes back to Choked Out, where it's like if you want to make money, like, you have to
choose, like, okay.
you have to be like, well, I'll go get my fucking hair shaved. You know, like you do the job to make your money. You know.
Well, again, I mean, they do agree to all this. Like it is predetermined, but like there are like real consequences to winning and losing, like as far as the money you make, and like so like these end up being real business.
Because it could hurt your like reputation for getting your head. Because that's the whole thing of the head shaving is like it's supposed to be disrespectful. It's you like that's when it goes back to Lucha Libre. It's when you lose your mask too. Like you lose your honor. Like your mask and or your hair in Lucha Libre, it's tied to your honor as a character. And when you lose your mask or your hair, you lose your honor and you're disrespected.
Yeah, it almost tests your ability to like
that
renew yourself. Like,
that's why when
you have the ability to come up with a new image?
Yeah,
like your mask is gone, so who are you gonna be as the maskless guy?
Yeah,
like that's a real business decision. Like you said,
it puts a weight on the match. Like
that's why it's only.
I'm so confident I'm gonna win. I'm willing to put this on the line.
I'm willing to put my honor as a pro wrestler on my and like that's the whole thing. They only did these matches for like the biggest rivalries. Ended in the mask versus mask or hair versus hair.
I wonder how much you got paid for like if you like agreed to have your mask removed or your head shaved. Like, was that a big payout? Like,
I bet
you
would payout, but you lose your.
Like, all right, fine. I'll get like if you're Ric Flair. All right, fine. I'll be Spartacus. I'm getting pizzade for you know what I mean. Like I'm not doing it for nothing. You know what I mean?
You got to remember, wrestlers are all independent contractors.
Yeah.
So they're in business for themselves. So they got to make the right moves for them.
Right.
So if taking off the mask might lead to more money, then you might do it. But you might not do it, you know. Or shave your head, you might not do it, or you might do it. Yeah. You know?
And then it kind of ends on a somber note where it's like out of the parking lot, you look up at the stars and all the cheap cars.
I love that line.
Yeah.
Because I love that line because
like wrestling is such a reputation of being like trashy and everything, and that's the whole. And, you know, if he goes out, he sees all the cheap cars in the parking lot.
And all the cheap cars, that's the wrestlers' cars, right?
Yeah.
The driving town to town.
I felt like both.
I can
and the fans.
Yeah, well, I didn't think about the wrestler. That's a really good point.
Because they drive rental cars and shit.
Well, I interpret when I was listening, I interpreted it as fans, like it's lowly people that like wrestling, but also like you said, but I do think it's the wrestlers because again, this is old wrestling. There wasn't a lot of money in the game back then, you know what I mean? So it's the cheap cars of the wrestlers who are on the road doing this shit, you know, like. Yeah, and then the ending, it was a cool that.
Yeah.
Like it right after you said like you look up at the stars, it just had a really nighttime feel, like dreamy kind of. It was cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, so the Mountain Goats. Besides, I mean, have you listened to them a lot? Besides this, like
I've listened to a couple of their albums.
They
don't have any other albums about pro wrestling.
Is it? Well, I mean, but as far as their but I mean, as far as like the sound, is it similar to this?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah. Same like folk rock type, you know.
I've got to listen to this again. Obviously, I really appreciate the concept and the stories and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but
I'm interested in it musically.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like it's so
some
easy.
of it kind of missed for me a little bit. Like I appreciated it all, but like I'm just not sure. I gotta listen to it again. You know,
you get so lost in the story, you don't realize all the great like the first time I listened to it, I was like reading the lyrics. I'm like, oh, this is like a cool story. And then like a couple times after I listened to it, I'm like, wow, like the music is like really really good.
Yeah,
like
it was definitely definitely very creative, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like this album a lot.
That's another reason why I think if you're a non-wrestling fan, you would like this album because the music will keep you interested alone.
Yeah.
You know, you might not know what a heel or a baby face is, but if you just listen to the actual music itself, you could maybe find something that you like in this album.
I'm almost more interested in a non-wrestling fan's perspective. Like obviously, like Jake, you're not as much, but like you're influenced by by all of us. Like I'd be more interested in somebody just like totally raw listening to it, like not, like what their impression of it would be.
Yeah, I like this album a lot. This is a fun. I'm glad I was able to find this because I wanted you guys. Because once I found out about this album, like I'm like, you guys need to hear this. That's why I searched so hard to find it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a big thing about Record Night, I think, is the art of the album, so to speak. So I love conceptual stuff and like themes and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely hit all those. okay, so this is the first time you've been back in a while.
Yeah.
You'll be back again. So this kind of worked out perfectly that you brought this record, but you've got lots of other records that you want to bring. So like, what are you thinking?
So there's ones we've talked about before. The Mollusk by Ween is a must listen.
Yes.
Which is I've talked about this album before here, not on the podcast, just like in conversations.
Okay.
That's the album that inspired SpongeBob. And it's also one of the best psychedelic rock albums I've ever heard in my life.
Ooh.
I adore that album. So that one is
now do you have it?
No.
Okay.
I'm looking for it.
Okay. It's hard to find.
It is kind of hard to find, but I think it's in print again, so I think it's easier to find than it was last year. Godspeed You Black Emperor. I want to bring Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven, because Jake didn't get to hear it when we listened to it the first time. And
Amazing.
their new album, which is called Godspeed at State's End. It's kind of a funny name, but it's a really, but it's a very intense album, and that's very because that was written during the pandemic and during all that. So it's the whole like message of the album is very like relevant. I still want to bring I have Prequel by Ghost, which is the newest Ghost album. Okay. I still want to bring because I think because that's just a really fun album. And of course,
I enjoyed Ghost quite a bit. The first record we listened to. So
yeah, the newest one is a bit different. That's more of just like a fun listen.
Okay.
And then of course, Gunslinger Ballads.
Gunslinger Ballads. See now, I want to get to all those albums, especially Godspeed You Black Emperor, both the first one and their new one. But yeah, I'm probably most excited about Gunslinger Ballads. Yeah. It just sounds so fun.
Next time I'm bringing Gunslinger Ballads.
Okay. Yes. Well, we got to get to that soon then. I don't know if we can.
I know the lyrics to a lot of those songs.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been listening. I've been listening
like
to
a song about him like going through the desert and like hallucinating about water.
Ever since I bought it, like I've just been listening to it on Spotify. I'm like, this album is fucking so great.
It's awesome.
Like I was like the first song on it is like it's a big like meme song because it was in a video game. Big Iron, yeah, it's a Fallout New Vegas. Big Iron, it's the first song, so a lot of people know that song. But like it's like the album's like really good.
There's so many good songs.
Yeah,
dude, we'll get to it. I don't want to get too much away. It's not worth giving it away.
Yeah, because it's really good. The next time I come out,
it is so like. This was written like in the old West. Like,
man, I sure brought it. We could listen to it tonight,
dude.
Well, this was great. This was great, and we'll save it. We'll get to it, and it'll be fun when we do. So it was nice to have you back, Pat.
Yeah, it was nice to talk about this great album.
Yeah. Okay, well then, until the next time you come on, until the next Record Night podcast, that's it for now. Goodbye.